I still remember the weight of her wedding ring in my palm, not hers to give, not mine to take. She pressed it into my hand that night in the hotel parking lot, her fingers trembling, her eyes daring me to be the kind of man who'd say no. I wasn't. 3 years later, I found that same ring in my mailbox. No note. No return address. Just golden silence. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to where it started. Phoenix, Arizona. Summer of 2019. The kind of heat that makes asphalt shimmer and bad decisions feel like destiny. I was 32, working construction management for a firm that built luxury homes in Scottsdale. The job paid well enough to keep me in a decent apartment and bad enough to keep me drinking on weeknights. I wasn't looking for anything. Especially not her. Her name was Caroline. I met her at a corporate mixer I had no business attending. My boss dragged me along, something about schmoozing potential clients, making connections. I was nursing a whiskey sour by the bar when she walked up, already laughing at something I hadn't said yet. "You look like you'd rather be anywhere else," she said. She had this way of tilting her head when she smiled, like she was letting you in on a secret. Dark hair pulled back. Navy dress that probably cost more than my rent. And a ring. A diamond so big it caught the light every time she lifted her glass. "That obvious?" I asked. "Completely." She extended her hand. "Caroline Mitchell. Ethan Cross." Her handshake lasted a second too long. Or maybe I held on a second too long. Either way, something shifted in that moment, some invisible line we'd both pretend we didn't see until it was too late to step back. We talked for an hour. Then 2. The mixer ended, and we moved to the hotel bar downstairs. She told me she worked in pharmaceutical sales, traveled constantly, lived in Tempe with her husband of 6 years. She said his name exactly once, David, and never mentioned him again. I should have left. I knew I should have left. Instead, I ordered another drink. "You married?" she asked, tracing the rim of her wine glass. "No. Ever been?" "No." "Smart man." She smiled, but there was something hollow in it. "You get to keep all your mistakes to yourself." I didn't know what to say to that, so I said nothing. We sat in comfortable silence while the bartender wiped down tables and the last of the businessmen stumbled toward elevators. "I should go," Caroline finally said, but she didn't move. "Yeah," I agreed, not moving either. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw it. The loneliness. The hunger. The exact same thing I saw in the mirror most mornings. "Stop me if you can," she whispered. And she leaned across the space between us and kissed me. I'm not going to tell you it was a mistake we made once and regret it immediately. That's not how these things work. That's not how we worked. It became Tuesdays and Thursdays, whenever she was in town. Sometimes a hotel near the airport. Sometimes my apartment. Once, recklessly, at a hiking trail in Camelback Mountain at dawn, where we could pretend the rest of the world didn't exist. She'd show up at my door with wine and takeout, wearing jeans and one of those soft sweaters that smelled like expensive perfume. We'd eat. We'd talk. We'd pretend we were two normal people who'd met under normal circumstances. And then she'd leave before midnight, and I'd watch her taillights disappear, and I'd feel like the worst version of myself. "Does he know?" I asked her once, about 3 months in. We were lying in my bed, her head on my chest, my fingers tangled in her hair. "Does it matter?" she said quietly. "It should." She lifted her head to look at me. "You want me to feel guilty?" "I do. Every single time I see his name on my phone. Every time I come home and he asks how my day was. Every time he tells me he loves me." "Then why?" "Because with you, I remember what it feels like to be wanted, not needed. To be chosen, not obligated." Her voice cracked. "Do you have any idea how long it's been since someone looked at me the way you do?" I pulled her closer, and we didn't talk about it again. The thing about secrets is they grow. They take up space. They push against your ribs until you can't breathe right anymore. By December, I was canceling plans with friends, avoiding my family's calls, spending my evenings staring at my phone, waiting for her messages. The construction site felt like sleepwalking. Everything that wasn't her felt like sleepwalking. My coworker, Danny, noticed. "You seeing someone?" he asked one afternoon, both of us standing in the skeletal frame of a half-built mansion. "Something like that." "She got you looking like a ghost, man. That ain't what love's supposed to do." I wanted to argue, but I didn't have the energy. That night, Caroline called. "Can you meet me? Now." Her voice sounded strange. Tight. "Where?" "The place off Shea Boulevard. The one we went to in October." 20 minutes later, I pulled into the parking lot of a near-empty chain restaurant. Caroline's car was in the corner, engine running. I got in the passenger seat. She was crying. Not dramatic sobs, just tears streaming silently down her face, her hands gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "Caroline. He proposed to me again tonight," she said. "What? A vow renewal. He wants to do this whole big thing for our anniversary. Invite our families. Reaffirm our commitment." She laughed, broken and bitter. "He has no idea. He's planning this perfect evening, and She turned to look at me. "What am I doing, Ethan?" I reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "I can't keep doing this," she whispered. My chest tightened. Okay. She looked at me, desperate. "That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say, Caroline?" "I'll say anything. I stopped, the words catching. "Tell me what you need. I need you to tell me to stop. I need you to be the strong one because I can't." Her voice broke completely. "Please, stop me." But I didn't. I kissed her instead. I kissed her like a drowning man, and she kissed me back like she was drowning too, and we both knew, right there in that parking lot with the Christmas lights blinking on the restaurant roof, that we were past the point of saving. New Year's came. She spent it with David. I spent it alone, drinking bourbon on my couch, watching the Phoenix fireworks through my window, wondering how something that felt so right could be so catastrophically wrong. She texted me at 12:17 a.m. "I thought about you at midnight." I stared at that message for 15 minutes before responding. "I thought about you too." February brought rain. Rare for Phoenix, but it came anyway, heavy and relentless. Caroline started talking about leaving him. "I have money saved," she said one Thursday, lying in my arms. "I could get my own place. Start over." "Would you?" I asked carefully. "If you asked me to." My heart hammered. "Caroline. I'm serious, Ethan. I'd do it. For us. For us. Like we were something real. Something worth destroying a marriage for." "What about David?" I asked. She was quiet for a long time. "What about him? He doesn't deserve this." "Neither do you. Maybe we all get what we deserve." She pulled away from me then, sitting up, wrapping the sheet around herself. "Is that what you think? That I deserve to spend the rest of my life with someone I don't love because I made a promise when I was 25? I think," I chose my words carefully, "I think if you leave him, it should be because you want to leave. Not because of me. But you're the reason. I can't be the reason, Caroline. That's too much weight. For both of us." She looked at me like I'd slapped her. Then she got dressed and left without saying goodbye. 3 weeks of silence. No calls. No texts. Nothing. I threw myself into work, pulled double shifts, tried to convince myself it was over, and I was relieved. Danny didn't buy it. "You look worse," he said. "Thanks. I'm serious. Whatever this is, fix it or end it. But stop torturing yourself." I wanted to tell him it was already ended. But then my phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Mr. Cross?" A man's voice. Calm. Professional. "Yes? My name is David Mitchell. I believe you know my wife." The world stopped. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Just gripped the phone and waited. "I'm not calling to threaten you," he continued. "I'm calling because Caroline is in the hospital. Appendicitis. Emergency surgery." "She was fine," he said, "but she'd been asking for me. I shouldn't have gone. God, I shouldn't have gone. But I did." The hospital was sterile and too bright. David was in the waiting room, tall, tired-looking, wearing a button-down that probably cost more than my car payment. He stood when he saw me. "Ethan?" I nodded. He studied me for a moment, then extended his hand. I shook it, feeling like a fraud. "She's in room 347. They're limiting visitors, but she put you on her list." His smile was sad. "She said you were a friend from work." "I'm sorry," I said, the words inadequate and true. "I know," he said simply. "So is she." Caroline was awake when I walked in, pale against white sheets, 4 in her arm. "You came," she whispered. Of course I came. David knows. Tears spilled over. He figured it out. Months ago, he said. He's known almost the whole time. My stomach dropped. Caroline. He wants to try counseling. He wants to save the marriage. She looked at me. And I think I owe him that. I nodded, even though it felt like my chest was caving in. I'm so sorry, she said. For all of it. Me too. She reached for my hand, and I let her take it one last time. If things were different, she started. But they're not. No. She smiled through tears. They're not. I left before David came back. I left before I could say anything else. I left before I fell apart. I didn't hear from her again. Months passed. Spring turned to summer. I threw myself into a new project, moved to a different apartment, tried dating someone from a coffee shop who was kind and uncomplicated and nothing like Caroline. It didn't work. Then one afternoon in July, 3 years to the day after that first mixer, I checked my mailbox. Inside was a small package. No return address. I opened it in my car. A wedding ring. Caroline's wedding ring. And underneath it, a note in her handwriting. You were right. I had to leave for me, not for you. It took 3 years, but I finally did it. I'm okay now. I hope you are too. Thank you for being my beautiful mistake. See. I still have that ring. I keep it in my desk drawer, under old receipts and expired warranties. Sometimes I take it out and hold it, remembering the weight of it that first night, the weight of everything that came after. I never responded to the note. What would I even say? I think about her sometimes, wonder if she thinks about me. Wonder if she found whatever she was looking for. Wonder if the cost was worth it. Mostly, I think about David. About the grace he showed me. About the kind of love that fights even when it's been broken. That's the thing they don't tell you about affairs. It's not just about the passion or the secrecy or the thrill of something forbidden. It's about the quiet aftermath. The way guilt becomes a companion you carry everywhere. The way you learn to live with the worst version of yourself. The way you realize that some mistakes don't get forgiven, they just get survived. I'm 40 now. Single. Careful about who I let close. And sometimes, late at night when I can't sleep, I still hear her voice in that parking lot, desperate and breaking. Stop me if you can. I couldn't. And we both paid the price.